Hey there people, how's it going? This is Flawless and Flawless Rage 2 bringing you another video. Today we're looking at, for the Throwback Thursday, Rocky. The Rocky movies. We're going to be talking about it and we're not going to mess about it, we're going to get straight into it. There was 5 originally Rocky movies to start us off. And here are the movies. I have them all on DVD. Great films. Rocky is the story about a amateur boxer called Rocky Balboa, who trains at Mighty Mickey's gym in Philadelphia. Mickey is played by Burgess Meredith, who was actually in the original Batman movie as the Penguin. He gets sort of like spotted, gets a shot at the title, the Big Time, comes knocking on his door, and so he takes the opportunity to fight against a fighter called Apollo Creed, who is played by Carl Weathers. And then it just takes off from there, really. It's a legendary movie, and the movies, when you watch them, you follow the whole lot through. It's absolutely fantastic. Let's talk about the movies as we go. So the first one, of course, was Rocky, where he was discovered and everything like that. And it was all... it is a fantastic movie. I recommend anyone to see it. He's spotted in it. He meets the girl of his dreams, who works in a pet shop. Her name is Adrian, played by Talia Shire. And she basically goes out on a date with him. And things happen from there. He ends up sort of like drawing at the end of this with Apollo Creed. But I'm not going to spoil it in case you guys have never seen it out there. The next one is Rocky 2. Now this one is, it carries on from the first one. That's what I like about these movies. They're like a continuous thing. Rocky 2. Well, what happens in Rocky 2? He once again fights against, I think it's Apollo Creed, in a rematch. In this one, he becomes like a father, and it's just an absolutely fantastic movie. Rocky is sort of like, one of the best fight movies out there. I mean, you've got all your other ones out there, but when it comes to Rocky, you can't beat it, really. Rocky is absolutely amazing. This film is absolutely brilliant. The next one along is Rocky 3, which had a couple of star guests. In Rocky 3, he's sort of like being honoured, and he needs to fight this fighter called Clubber Lang, played by Mr. T from the A-Team. And there is a special guest appearance in this by Mr. T. Obviously, he's got to fight him. There's also a charity event he does in this one, which is the boxer versus the wrestler. Now, if anyone's going to know about that, it's going to be me. The wrestler is known as Thunderlips, played by the one and the only Mr. Hulk Hogan. Yes, you heard me. Hulk Hogan is in this movie. Fantastic stuff. And it's just an absolutely fantastic film. I believe there's 2 fights in this film. First time he goes up against Clubber, he loses. Second time he whips his ass, and it's absolutely fantastic movie. I recommend anybody to see it if you haven't seen any of the Rocky films, really. This film also inspired basically the song, which is, whenever it comes on, people say, "Oh my God, it's from Rocky," which is "Eye of the Tiger" by Survivor. This is the very first film you actually hear that song in. Absolutely great song. And we're just going to take a minute to talk about that, actually. Not only is "Eye of the Tiger" the Rocky song, but also I believe it was a music producer called Bill Conti who produced the song called "Gonna Fly Now," which is sort of like used in pretty much all of the Rocky movies when he's training. The training montages are insane. They are really good. If you haven't seen any of these films, I recommend you check it out. And as soon as that song comes on, you're going to know it's played at the beginning of the movies as well. So it's a great song, and it's a great song for a great movie franchise. Let's just say that. Moving on to Rocky 4. Now, this one, he fights against, I believe, the Russian, who is known as Ivan Drago, played by Dolph Lundgren. And in this one, there's once again sort of like a charity sort of friendly sort of bout between Rocky at the time's friend, Apollo Crews. I keep wanting to say Apollo Creed, but that's WWE. No, Apollo Crews is WWE. What the fuck? Apologies. We'll go back. He's friends with the guy he fought in the first one, they say. And he fights against this Russian dude. And unfortunately, it's supposed to be just a friendly thing. And it turns out really bad. Apollo ends up dying in the ring due to injuries caused by Drago. It's absolutely, it's one of them things, and Rocky vows to get revenge, and pretty much does. He goes against, he goes to Russia to face Drago, and he's like the most evil man in town. He's the, top of the most wanted list, highly hated. And but at the end of it, he actually beats Drago and wins the people over. Fantastic film. The music in this is absolutely fantastic as well. You've got songs in it like "Hearts on Fire," great song. My favourite one from this movie is a song called "No Easy Way Out." It's a great song, and there's just many more as well. It's brilliant. You just watch it. It's absolutely fantastic. Also, there's all of the original cast are in it, obviously, apart from Apollo until he is up until he dies. But yeah, great. The last one is Rocky V. Or is it the last one? Rocky V was, it's a bit of a different take on it. Rocky is no longer fighting due to not being able to get a boxing license due to sort of like brain injury and stuff. He's basically, the feeling you get from it is he's basically near enough punch drunk. And so he wants to still be around the boxing thing, to still sort of like, have something to do, have, it's boxing is his life, it's his passion. And so he ends up training this fighter called, what is his name? Something Gunn. I forget now. But he ends up trying this fighter, and it basically takes over his life. He moves into his house. He, gives all of his time to this one fighter instead of his family. And at the end of it, this other fighter who is Tommy Gunn, that's it. Yeah, I know, right? But but yeah, at the end of it, he ends up. Tommy goes with a different promoter who basically turns him into something that he's not. He sort of like says that Rocky does all the hard stuff, and his promoter's basically feeding off that, getting gunfights and stuff, and it's absolutely insane. But nonetheless, it's a great movie. He loses everything in this film, and has to move back from a mansion, what he was living in Rocky IV. He moves into really, really small house in this one. But it's absolutely fantastic. It's at the end of it, he has an actual street fight with Gunn, and some of the scenes in that are absolutely fantastic. There's a scene where it's actually being broadcasted on TV through this other promoter's cameras and stuff, and his son. That's relevant. His son runs into the room and says to his mum, "Dad's on TV fighting," and his mum pretty much shits a brick, and they run down the street to where the fight's happening. Now, Rocky's son in this is actually played by his real life son, Sage Stallone, who tragically died a few years ago. He was in this one with his dad, which is pretty cool, really, when you think about it. Having your own son in a movie with you. I mean, hell, I'd love to do a movie with my son. It'd be awesome. But yeah, that was it basically. That is Rocky. Now, people thought it was all over, but Rocky never left. A few years ago, this was released. This is Rocky's goodbye movie. This is Rocky Balboa, the title character of all the movies, finally made into a movie itself. You see on the front there, it says, "It ain't over till it's over." In this one, he goes against an up-and-coming boxer, a big-shot boxer, really, and Rocky loses. Now, in all these other movies, he wins, but he loses to this guy. And at the end of it, he just walks away and thinks, right, that's it. Time to hang up the gloves. And it's a great film. It really is a good film. Some people were a bit on the fence about it, but I personally think it's, very fitting to go with the Rocky story. So, yeah, what more can be said about that, really? There is another one, but I do not have it. Unfortunately, it's called Creed. Rocky makes a return for one last movie. The movie's called Creed, and he comes back and trains Apollo Creed's son to basically fight and be a boxer and stuff. It's, there are some hilarious bits in it. It's a great movie, and if you can get hold of it, watch it somehow, then I highly recommend you do so, because you'll not regret it. So yeah, that was basically this week's Throwback Thursday, guys. This is Rocky. I hope you enjoyed it. 6 movies there. If you can find them on DVD, get them. Because, they are going to keep you entertained for quite a long time. If you like that sort of movie, then, I highly recommend you go for it. Okay, so that's going to be the end of that, guys. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Subscribe here if you're new. Turn on post notifications to be notified of every single time I upload a brand new video. And what more can be said, guys? But stay true to yourself, always be awesome, and always remember to keep smiling.